And he very quickly got on board, accepted me there, and worked with him. And it's always my style to work with people and to discuss things and make plans together. So Joe was living right up further at one of the outstations, but he would come down regularly. And with him, as one of my main supporters, we did a lot of things to move forward in the way that the parish operated. I mentioned previously I trained prayer leaders. Later we trained a parish council. All those are another story. Joe was very helpful, very cooperative. If I said to Joe, can you go over to that other village and contact the people there and give instruction to people wanting baptism, he would go. There was a particular village where all the people said we want to be baptised Catholics, and that's another story, interesting story, how they came to that position. So I said to Joe, I said, can you go and see them and arrange times and days and whatever, and take them for instruction over a period of time? Joe said yes. So, and regularly he would say, or send a message to me to say, I'm going to that village and I'll be there for a few days or something. And sometimes I would go and meet him up there and work together. It was better for us to work through a catechist who knew the language well and understood the people. So Joe was a good catechist, dedicated to his job, dedicated to the church, and we worked well as a team. I only found out years later, after he had died, from one of his children, that Joe's father had been a big sorcerer in the area. He was a powerful sorcerer, and his family wanted Joe to follow in his father's footsteps and train and learn how to be a sorcerer. But Joe said, no, I don't want to go that way. I will go with the church. And that's when he offered himself. I don't know what the process was, but he was trained as a catechist. Now, all my years of working with him, Joe never told me that. And he never told me anything about what he might have known about sorcery. Might have been my fault for not asking questions. But he remained as a dedicated catechist until he died. Now, this was a big step in faith for Joe, and it is a credit to those missionaries who worked there in the early days. Bishop Desmore, whom I've mentioned before, and Sister Fidelis, or Sister Ruth, who has done some presentations on Mission Alive. They instructed the people and led the people, helped the people to grow in faith to the extent that a young man like Joe could make such a step. Because to be a sorcerer, to follow in the footsteps of his powerful father, would give him status in society. But he took this step in faith. And this was a real step in what we call enculturation, in the gospel, in the church, becoming part of that place. So that was a significant thing for Joe and for his people and for the rest of his family. One of his sons was also approached to become a sorcerer, and that's another story again. I remember Joe well. I have fond memories of him. We did many patrols together. If I said, Joe, I'm going out to such and such a village over there, over the hills somewhere, will you come with me? He'd say yes. Or I'd say, I'm planning on this patrol, and he'd say, I'll come. I'll meet you there, or I'll come down and join you here. So he was, and always on the way. He's very helpful. He had a command of several languages in that area, and so he was good in working with the people and translating for me if I couldn't find a common language with those people. So Joe was very dedicated. In that was a great mission for Joe, and part of my mission was working with him, and that was a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you for being with us. We'll have more stories as we go along.